reflecting something super important, reflecting on why this happened, and looking back and seeing what God made you go through to finally reach it is super crucial. And I think that puts it in a better perspective, especially for me, because when I realized that, okay, like, wow, the Lord didn't let me get this, and because I didn't get this, I went through this whole season, and I eventually got this. It's super crucial, and it's super humbling, and realizing that, yeah, the Lord does work, and the Lord is still here today, working through each and every one of us, and everything He does for a purpose. And I think that's super, like, that's something that it took me a while, especially to realize.
What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Kabongo from Elianda, and we have a very special guest, man. So we have a returner from another episode that we already filmed, but we have Claude with us, man. So please introduce yourself from any of the new people that might not know who you are.
Yes, sir. I'm Claude. I'm currently a sophomore. I go to a school in St. Louis. It's called Washington University in St. Louis, and I'm glad to be here, man. Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. Yeah, man. So I told Claude I wanted to film another podcast, man, because I'm not gonna lie. Before, probably 30 minutes ago, I did not have a topic on what we were gonna talk about. But driving up here, I just was thinking, what can we talk about? What could we talk about? And a thought just popped up in my head. I was like, why don't we talk about when God says no? Which is something that I feel like both of us have gone through,
right.
And people at home, you guys have probably gone through the same thing where you feel as if you want something really bad, but then God says nope. So that's what we're gonna be talking about. But something that's like a Bible verse that's gonna co-align with what we're talking about today is coming from 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 9, which says, "But as it is written, what no eye has seen, nor ear heard, nor the heart of man imagined, what God has prepared for those who love Him." I like that last part. It says, "What God has prepared for those who love Him." So we can hop straight into it, man. But we're gonna keep referencing back to that Bible verse. But just with the topic of just when God says no, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that's a great topic. I think that it's hard, especially for us humans. I think, especially for me, I think I always like to know what I want to do, like having a plan of what I want my life to kind of end up being. And so I think with God telling you no, it's hard, because let's say you have this plan, you know what you're good at, you know what you want to do, but God is like, no, I want you to go be a missionary, go do mission work. I think that's very hard, and it takes a lot of faith. I think that's one thing that I've realized is that your faith has to supersede your understanding of what you think you're called to do. And I think that's something that takes time to cultivate, and being in the Word helps a lot. But being able to realize that the Lord wants me to do this, and I'm going to do it because the Lord's calling on me, and not what I want to do. Is very hard to do. And I'm not saying it's easy, but I think it's fundamental and crucial. And I think the Lord's plan will prevail, even if you don't want to do it. I think that the Lord will pull you to that calling one way or another.
That's true.
And I think what's hard about it is that He might, the way that I see it sometimes, and I feel like I've seen in my life, is that He might let you deviate from that calling just a little bit. He might let you have a season of kind of defiance in a way, but eventually I think the Lord will pull you back to that calling, and He'll keep pushing, He'll keep nudging you to come back to it until eventually you give in. I think that's very powerful and very hard, of course, to do, but I think eventually it will be done. I think the Lord will prevail with His plan for you.
Wow, that's so true, bro. Especially when you said at times He'll let you deviate and kind of stray away a little bit just to see hey, God's plan is always the best plan. Yeah, because like you said, bro, we as humans, we usually think that we know it all, and we know the ultimate plan. Right. But as I'm growing up, I'm starting to realize my plan sometimes is never what's actually gonna happen. I make plans, but God is the one that truly decides whether or not these plans are gonna go through, man.
Tell me about it.
And literally, you can make a 5-year plan about your life, saying I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna do that, but then you're gonna get to certain points in life when God is gonna be like, nope, 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 and then you're gonna look at yourself what is my purpose?
Exactly.
Yeah, and you're gonna be asking yourself that a lot. But that's when you just gotta put your faith and trust in God, man. And that's the biggest part about it.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like it's definitely really hard, especially like you said, the 5-year plan. Like that's something that I personally do. Like when I went to like Washington, my college, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this, major this. That changed like first like semester at that school, right? Like what I thought was for me wasn't for me, and I feel like now that I've kind of surrendered myself to the Lord, and I think that's crucial, surrendering yourself to the Lord to allow Him to work through you, has like brought so much joy in my life. And it's super powerful. So yeah, I agree with everything you just said, man.
So when you first started at WashU, what was your major?
Yeah, so when I graduated senior year, I thought I was gonna go into economics and accounting. I thought it made sense. I thought I enjoyed it. I was good at both accounting and economics. But as soon as I got to WashU, I realized that economics was not the economics I thought I wanted to go into was not what was not what I felt like was my calling and could reach my full potential.
True.
And so eventually now I changed it a couple of times. I looked around, talked to people, talked to the Lord, prayed and everything. So now it's looking like I'm going into finance and probably operation and strategic management, which is completely different from what I thought a year and a half ago I'd be going into. I feel like just one way that the Lord was like, I know you like this, I know it sounds great, but I have a different plan for you, I have a different path for you. With also a minor in educational studies, I didn't think I'd do that. But one thing that I feel like the Lord has on my life is going into education at some point, and so I think he in a way kind of forced me to make a minor in that, to keep it like on top of my mind and stay intentional about going into education eventually. And so that's one way that I think that God kind of completely deviated from what I wanted to do.
Yeah, literally. Like one thing that you said that really caught my attention is, he kind of forced you into it. And, it's not like to say like, God is going to force this on you and he's going to be like, no, I'm just saying like at times in my life, I can relate. It's like God made it the calling on my life. Like that was the only option. He made it to where that was the only option. And it's like in those times where you have no choice but to be solely dependent on God. And that's what God wants the most, And with this topic of like when God says no, one thing I've realized is when God says no, at times it's merely just a hold on, wait a little bit.
Right.
Wait a second, Yeah. Like, what you want, I'm going to give it to you, but not right now.
Yeah. No, to add on to that, I think, he definitely delays what his purpose is for you so that you can grow. I think usually those phases of like, okay, I know you want to be here, and I have this prepared for you, but you're not at the like capacity to really like take it in.
True.
And I think that's very powerful because that sucks. I think working on patience is something that's very important. But the Lord will make sure that when you get your gift, when you fulfill your purpose, when you get to the place where you want it to be, or where God wants you to be, I think He will have prepared you to take that position, to take that place, to take whatever it is for you. I think that's crucial. I think that phase of Him delaying it is going to allow you to grow so that you can actually receive it. Because I think if you get it too early, you're just going to screw it up.
You really will, yeah. And God sees that because, God sees our hearts and truly who we are deep down inside, And a lot of the times the things that we want, we're not mature enough to even handle it, And like what you said, he sees like you're not at the capacity to handle what I'm about to give you. So I'm going to allow you to grow first, then I'll give it to you. But in this season, I'm going to say no. Like, oh, you want to run a 7-figure business. But at this point in your life, I see like the capacity that you're at, not yet. But I'm going to take you over here and help you to grow first. Then I'm going to put you back over here. Then I'm going to finally give it to you. So yeah, that's why I would say like in my life, I've seen like it's not no, but just not yet.
Exactly. One thing to add on to that, even in the Bible, I think Moses, if I'm not right, I think he knew his calling was supposed to lead people out of Israel, but he didn't start that until I think it was 80. I think it was it 40 years in Egypt and then 40 years I think as a shepherd. And then eventually he came back and led the people out. I don't think he would have been able to fulfill God's purpose in his life if he'd done that at the age of like 20. So I think that's very crucial, even in the Bible, that it shows that he's going to delay what he has for you, but eventually you will succeed. And Moses succeeded in taking people out of Egypt. And so that's just one example of the delay is for your good.
That's a good example, man. But just continuing on with like the different people in the Bible that God kind of said, no, not yet. Like even with Joseph, man, Joseph in the Bible, the one that got sold by his brothers, you know, Joseph might not have known his purpose, but God waited until Joseph was 30. And then Joseph finally was in front of Pharaoh and translated Pharaoh's dream to him. But, you know, in that time when Joseph thought he was going to forever work for Potiphar and just be the head of that house, God said, no, not yet. Like, I have something bigger for you, you know? And even with the Bible verse that we read today, that's something that I feel like is speaking to us as well. It's like, you know, God has something bigger for us, you know? Like when it says, once again, we're going to go back to this part. It says, what no eye has seen, nor ear heard, nor the heart of man imagined, what God has prepared for those who love him. You know, like with this topic that we're talking about, I feel like it's good to remember that God always has something bigger and better for us.
Agreed.
You know, like the things that we want usually are merely a small portion of what God truly has intended for us, you know? And so God usually wants us to wait and just to wait on him. And that's something that I feel like I've struggled with a lot in the passages, waiting on God when he's just saying, not yet, like, no. Like, cause like as humans, obviously we want things as fast as possible. So I feel like in my life, there's been points where I have tried to rush things and then it ended up blowing up in my face when I could have waited and God would have gave me the bigger and better, you know? Like, I don't know, like, do you feel as if you've had times in your life when you know, you could have waited and gotten bigger and better, but you were like, no, I'm gonna be impatient and just get this right now?
Yeah, no, I mean, so many times. I feel like, I mean, one example I think would have been my freshman year in college. So there was this club. It was a really good business club that I wanted to join. And so I tried to join it freshman year, first semester. I thought I knew that this is what would help me, especially like in business, like exceed and kind of grow. And so I went in, but I didn't really understand why I wanted to join it, if that makes sense. It was more like a selfish, like I just want to join it for my self gain and not to really like get to know the people, get to understand them and kind of enjoy it in that sense. And so I did end up getting in that organization, which hurt because I thought I was okay, like now what do I do, right? Like I thought I was okay, like my plan's kind of messed up. Now like this really sucks. And so the rest of the semester, I just kind of took that to kind of focus on myself, kind of build myself, read the word more, and just kind of like understand who I am as a person. And so that next semester, spring semester, freshman year, I was lucky enough to actually get to join it. And my approach that time was like, if God wants me to kind of join this, he will. If it's not my calling, if I don't belong in this club, if he has a different route for me, I'll take it. And thankfully, the Lord felt like as if I should have joined the club. But I think realizing that whatever I do is not kind of in my hands. I think preparing yourself is important. But giving the rest to God is far more crucial. And I feel like whenever I did that, the second semester, it luckily worked out. And I'm very grateful for it. But I think that first semester, me having the selfish intentions, the Lord was like, yeah, now you're not ready to join this. Yet, and eventually, once I grew and once I matured, the Lord was okay, like you're ready, and I've enjoyed it ever since. And I don't think I would have enjoyed it as much if I joined the first semester, which I'm glad that it worked out the way that it did.
Wow, like that's so powerful, bro. And something that you said that really caught my attention, and I feel like a lot of people need to understand is you said it like. A lot of the times when we want something so bad, and you know when God says no, a lot of the times it's for our own selfish gain, you know. And I see like God sees that a lot, you know, and he sees that in us humans when we want something really bad. It's usually for ourselves, and it's for our selfish gain and just to better ourselves. But I feel like God really will give you something, and he'll hand it to you as a blessing when he sees that, hey, this person is going to use this, whatever I'm about to bless them with, for others. Yeah, because God doesn't want us to be selfish with the things that he gives us, but not only that, just to be selfish with our gifts as well. God will magnify the things that you're doing, but not only that, say yes when you say, hey, God, I'm ready to use whatever this is for others as well.
I agree.
And that's major right there, bro. And so like that's one thing we want you guys to understand at home, you know. One way that you can help yourself to to get what the things that you need in life from God, is just to make sure that it's not for your own selfish need, that you are going to use whatever God is going to give you to help others as well. Because something like I like to make a main point is like, we're stewards and we're servants, you know. So always look at yourself as a servant and never as, you know, just somebody who's just there to take. No, you should be willing to give, you know. So that's extremely major.
No, again, then I mean, to add on to that, I think whenever you try to pursue something because you want it, because it's something that you desire, I think that's more of like a short-term gain. I think in that season, yeah, you're gonna enjoy it, yeah, you're gonna have fun. But long term, I think it's more detrimental to you. I think you regret it more. You kind of wish that you would have never done that to begin with. And if you just take the time to speak to God, to kind of allow Him to unravel His plan for you, it helps so much more. Like, it saves you so much stress, so much pain. If you just wait for the Lord. Of course, prepare yourself. I think preparing yourself is still important, but waiting for the Lord to give you that blessing, it's super crucial and saves you in the long run. I think long term. I think having a long term mindset, especially with the plan that God has for you, is super crucial. So keeping that in mind and knowing that all of these short term gains that you're getting now aren't worth it in the end.
Yeah.
And I've come to learn that.
And yeah, because it's extremely important to understand like the difference between like delayed gratification and instant gratification. Exactly. And that will help you too when God does say no, you know, because it will help you to understand that, hey, you know, I might not get this thing that I really wanted right now, but God has something way better than me for me later on, you know. And so you just gotta make sure that you're praying, but you're just working on your like patience. And you know, it's easy to say and to say like to wait and be patient, but I know personally that it's hard, you know. But one way that you can help yourself be more patient is truly just speaking to God through prayer. You know, like that's something else that we like to emphasize on this channel, is the importance of prayer to Jesus Christ, because you guys need to build that communication and that relationship. And you got to ask Him, God, help me to be patient. And I read somewhere, I think it was on social media, it said, you know, you're going to ask God for all these different things, like, God, help me to be more giving. God, help me to be more patient. God, help me with my anger. And then the way that God will answer those things is putting you through situations that you will have to use that.
Exactly.
Like, you're asking God to be more patient. Guess what? He's going to put you in a situation where you have to learn how to be patient no matter what. You're asking God to help you with your anger. He's going to put you in situations where you could get angry, or you could be the person that's calm in that situation, you know? So when you're asking God to help you with these different things, understand that He's going to put you through situations that are going to help you to grow in those things. But you as a person need to understand, like, hey, this is God really putting me through this test. So let me actually help myself by doing what I said I was asking God to do. And so work on that through that season.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's one thing that, especially for me, I didn't really realize until I got a bit older that the things that I pray for patience, for kindness, for gentleness, it came in a way the exact opposite to make me work on it, like you just said. And it's hard and it sucks, especially in the beginning whenever you first pray for it and it first starts happening. But I think remembering your prayer and continue to speak to God and prayer, continue to pray to God, is super crucial. And something that I want to add on to prayer is that I think it's hard to understand what God is trying to tell you if you don't talk to Him. And I feel like that both comes with prayer and reading the Word. And so one thing that, especially the past couple of years, or especially this past year, that I've taken to heart is that, like reading the Word and praying it helps you so much, especially trying to understand what the Lord has planned for you, and having time to reflect both with yourself and with God. I think allowing yourself to let all of your thoughts out, both good and bad. Like if you're having a fight with God, let Him fight with God, and He'll be there for you because He's a kind and loving Father. So I think prayer and reflecting and letting all of your thoughts out and letting the Lord know that is super crucial. And always taking like at least like all you need is like 5-10 minutes a day to do that. I know we all have that. But that's amazing.
Definitely, like with prayer, like, you know, a lot of people think that prayer has to be dreadful, like you have to be just, you know, crying and just like doing all these things. No, God just wants to talk to you.
Exactly.
Like one of the ways that you could help yourself to become better at prayer is just to imagine God as a friend, which He truly is. Just the same way that I'm talking to Claude right here and talking to you guys is the same way that you could talk to God. And in the Bible, one thing that it says is, You know, God doesn't want those recited prayers, those what's the name? Those prayers that you're just gonna, don't pray the same thing over and over to God. And I don't mean like, oh, if you have a problem, like don't pray to God. No, I'm saying like, don't just every single day, God, thank you, and I pray that you just bless me with $1 million. And the next day, guess what you do? All right, God, thank you, and I pray that you bless me. No, change it up. Like truly tell God what happened today. Like, God, I went through this today. This happened, you know, my mom did this. I had to go through this, you know. These results came back and this happened, and you know, I'm passing my test, but this happened. Like truly have a conversation with God like a normal person and understand that he's listening. And you know, at times you're gonna go through different seasons where it might seem like God's not listening. Yeah. And you know, that might seem like he's saying no as well. Mm-hmm. But like we said earlier, it's just merely a wait, hold on, you know. Even when he's not saying a single thing to you, that's merely a test as well to see what are you gonna do when I don't say anything at all. And
I'm glad you ended it there, because I was also gonna talk about to add on with prayer with Job. Whenever Job would pray to God, he wasn't praying a happy prayer. He was praying out of like why is this happening to me? Yeah. Why, Lord, why are you letting this happen to me? I've been faithful to you. And he, I mean, Job was probably mad, right? He was like, why is this happening? Mm-hmm. But I think what was super important, I forgot where I heard this, but what God really cared about is that he was still coming to him to pray. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're mad. Yeah, you're upset. Yeah, I mean, do whatever you want to say. Say whatever you want to say to the Lord. But the fact that you're still coming to him in this time of need, in this time of struggle, is super crucial. And if you read Job, like he gets blessed like tenfold at the end of the story, right? And so even though Job didn't know why God was doing it, Job didn't know why he was going through so much misery, even though he was a faithful follower of God, in the end his faith prevailed, and he was blessed for it. And so yeah, I think that's super crucial, is that you don't know why God is doing what he does, but remaining faithful and continue to pray and continue to talk to him through that phase, it's going to help you tremendously. Like it's crucial.
That is true, man. Yeah, because Job could have easily said, God, I'm done with you.
Yeah, like you're doing all this and I've been faithful, but he prevailed.
Literally. And you know, what's crazy is like Job had to go through that. It wasn't just, okay, Job just, all his kids died, all his possessions were taken away today, and tomorrow he gets it all back. No, Job went through this through a time. Like it was probably months and months and months where Job was just going through this, you know. Mm-hmm. And in a sense, God was merely telling Job, wait, hold on, you know, because maybe God wanted to teach Job the importance of remaining faithful as well, you know, because Job, he never had really gone through anything like this.
Because remember, if in the first couple of chapters, it talks about how I think God and like Saint are talking, and Saint says Job's only following you because he has all these good things. Yeah. He has everything he's ever wanted.
He's never really gone through nothing super crazy. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But then God was like, no matter what, I know he will remain in me. Exactly. You know, and so God allowed Satan to do those things, but understanding that Job will prevail because he truly understands that God is everything, you know. Right. And, you know, that's another thing is like whenever God does say no, you know, just understand that, hey, he is still everything. Yeah. You know, I might not have gotten what I wanted. And it's very easy to get angry when you don't get what you want, you know, because even adults, we're all truly just little kids, you know.
At the end of the day,
Like, you know, like when you're at the store with your parents and your mom is like, when we go in here, don't touch nothing, don't look at nothing. You're like, oh my goodness. That's the only reason I even came to the store with you today, because I wanted like a bag of chips or something. Exactly. But like she tells you, no, you know, it's going to hurt, right? But when you get older and you're all like, man, I have self-control to where I can go in this store and I just get what I need and I don't waste my money on these things. You're like, thank you. You know, thank you, Mom, for helping me to understand that back in the day. You know, now I'm way more financially smart with my money. Or like if you're like a sports player, right? Like your coach cuts you. You know, you might see like, oh, that's no. But once they cut you, you start working way harder on that sport than you ever have. Then you make the team the next year, you become the starter.
Come on now.
Like, look at that. Now you're going to be like, thank you for cutting me.
Exactly.
Because, you know, you saying no to me was just merely a just wait, hold on, so that I can get way better and surpass all these different people.
No, I agree. I think one thing was, in both examples you kind of like hit on it, was reflecting on where you were like previously. I think that's something that's super crucial, is that let's say at the beginning you don't make the football team, but eventually you do because you worked harder because you didn't make it. I think realizing that this setback and reflecting on it. I think reflecting is something that's super important. Reflecting on why this happened and looking back and seeing what God made you go through to finally reach it is super crucial. I think that puts it in a better perspective, especially for me, because when I realized that, okay, like, wow, the Lord didn't let me get this, and because I didn't get this, I went through this whole season, and I eventually got this. It's super crucial, and it's super humbling, and realizing that, yeah, the Lord does work, and the Lord is still here today, working through each and every one of us, and everything He does for a purpose. And I think that's super, like, that's something that it took me a while, especially to realize, that just take a minute to like reflect and look back and see what the Lord has actually done for you. Because in your season, like, yeah, it might be hard to realize that, but taking 5 minutes out of your day to really realize that the Lord has brought me to where I am now. I mean, I've been through a season where I didn't think I'd get out of, but now I'm here. Now I'm happy. Now I'm living. Now life is good. I think just always doing that is amazing. So yeah, I agree.
That's extremely important, man. Like, that self-reflection is extremely important, you know, and that self-reflection will help you to grow, you know. And, you know, like, with this being said, it's just like, the one thing that I really want to make, like, kind of like the big, you know, just the big deal is just like, when God does say no, understand that He is still good.
Yeah.
Just because you did not get what you wanted does not mean that God isn't for you. God still has something bigger and better for you. When God tells you no, just understand that, hey, this really just means just wait, you know? Or sometimes God may see, like, this thing that you really want is going to hurt you in the end. It's going to destroy you. So let me remove it out of your life right now so that it doesn't even hurt you in the future. Because God is omnipotent and omniscient, so He knows everything. So He might see something that you may think, okay, this is what I really need to do, but God's like, no, there's something way bigger and better that I want you to do. So I gotta take this out of your life. Yeah. You know.
No, I agree with that, and I think that just goes back to, like, not leaning on your own understanding, but His. I mean, like, we don't know anything. Like I couldn't tell you what I'm gonna. I might even switch my major in the next two years before I graduate. Like, I don't know. But I think that the Lord's plan, again, will prevail in His understanding. And He knows everything, like you just said. I mean, my understanding is very limited. And so, yeah, I think leaning on Him and being faithful. And also just knowing that the way that our God works is that He's not going to put you in situations like He's going to try to prevent those. He's going to try to prevent situations where you could hurt yourself or where evil can come. And so I think just keeping that in mind, just knowing that the Lord, whatever He's doing in your life is within His word, and the Lord is the one person, the one being that can't change, right? Like, the Lord is the same from the beginning to the end, and everything about Him is going to be the same until the end of time. And so just realizing that, and knowing that whatever He's doing in your life right now is for your good, and especially understanding who He is, just know that whatever it is going to work out for you is super crucial. So yeah, it's crazy.
That's major, man. Yeah, but like, I want to give, like, a story time, you know, at the time in my life when God said no. And, you know, I was a little bit angry when He did say no, but it helped me to understand that God always has something bigger and better for me. So I would say last year, I've even told Claude about this, you know, there was a certain, a certain female that I liked, you know, and so, but whenever I was liking her, there was always a feeling, like a gut feeling in me that was telling me, this is not the person for you. This is not the person for you, over and over and over and over again. But me, you know, at that point in time, my focus was always on the outer looks, you know. So I was like, man, but she looks so good, you know. She has to be for me. She looks good. Her personality is good from what I've seen so far. Right. And I was just like, I gotta give her, you know. I gotta make this person my girlfriend. Who knows? This could be my wife one day, right? So time goes on, and I get to really get to know the person, and, you know, and God starts to show me, like, hey, this person isn't for you. And, you know, it hurt when God did that to me, you know, because I was like, God, this is the person that I really, really, really want. But it wasn't until, like, later on when I finally realized, like, hey, God was using that time to show me that, not to rush into things, you know, but not only that, to let Him choose, you know, because in relationships, guys, for any of you guys that might be younger, any of you guys that might be older, it's like, when we choose and when we try to rush into things, they always collapse and burn in our face, you know, and so God wants us to be patient, you know, so he can work, so he can truly see certain qualities that you need in your life. Because in a relationship, it's two people, it's not just one. So if the other half is not truly compatible with you and you guys aren't helping each other to grow, it will never work. And you got to be the same way. If you're not compatible with that person, it will never work. You know, it might seem fine in the moment because you're reacting off of emotions. But when you truly sit down and look at certain qualities of these people that you want, it's like, if we get together, I know long term, we're going to start arguing every day. It's going to become extremely toxic. And, you know, we're going to get to a point where we're not even going to like each other anymore. So I'm so thankful that God did that. But in the moment, I was like, God, why no? But now I'm all like, God, thank you for allowing that to happen, because that was merely just, wait, hold on. Because I know God has something bigger and better for me. But it took patience, you know? So I just wanted to give you guys that story time to help you guys understand that the things that we usually want, you know, God has a way of always telling us, like, no. And if you don't listen when he tells you no, you could get yourself in a lot of crazy stuff. So when he does tell you no, listen.
Yeah, no, to talk a little bit more about relationships as well. I think that's probably the one that has probably the lasting impact. Whenever he's like, no, don't do this, but you still continue because of the soul ties that in pretty much any relationship that you get into, the soul ties that kind of form there are hard to get rid of. And it's hard to say to date someone for a year or two, and then to just break up. There's always a piece. That a piece of you that's kind of still, or a piece of her or him that's still with you, right? And realizing that if the Lord is telling you, hey, don't do this, it's not good for you, and you continue, especially in a relationship, it's very hard to get rid of and to detach yourself from that person after that breakup. And so just realizing that and keeping that in mind whenever you start looking for relationships, and just knowing that, like, if this person isn't for God, this person isn't living a life that I'd want to be with for the next 40 years, don't do it. Like, it's not worth the pain and the stress and the struggle after y'all break up. Because I mean, divorce is like 50% in the U.S. And so just realizing that like choose your partner wisely. Like it's a very long-term like impact, good or bad. And so using discernment, talking to God and realizing that this person is who God wants me to be with, and not again on your own interest and what you want, because it's, especially when you're young, I think that overshadows what God has for your future, and realizing that early is super crucial, so that you can kind of prevent any wrongdoing later down in your life.
Yeah, man. So like literally, a lot of the times when God does say no, save yourself the trouble and just listen. You know, because if you continue on trying to get that thing that God told you not to get, you know, he's gonna try to continue to show you different signs. Like, hey, I'm telling you no. Like, open your eyes. I'm trying to give you a sign. Like, no.
Right.
When you just say no, I don't care about those no's. When you just put all those no's aside, you will get yourself hurt. You will get yourself hurt long term, and then you're gonna run back to God, you know. And then God is gonna have to scold you, because God he's a father, you know, and he has to discipline his kids, and so he's gonna scold you. He's gonna be like, I told you, you know, I told you, like, I still love you, and you're still my child, but I told you about these things. Like, that's why, guys, we have to have discernment every single day when you guys wake up. Ask God for discernment and to help you guys have sound judgment, so you guys can truly see the things that God wants us to do. And so that's amazing, man.
One thing to add with your example that you just added at the end is like the prodigal son, right? Whenever like the son was like, hey, I want to leave, give me my half. Father was like, okay, I mean, you want it, I'll give it to you. He went on, partied, went crazy, got poor, started eating like pig's slop, which is, if you know what that is, I can imagine eating nothing like that. But for him it was good, because he was starving and he wanted it. And it wasn't until you realize, okay, like, this wasn't for me, I don't know why I left to begin with, and he came back to the father. The father was like, yeah, I mean, come back. Like God is a loving God. Like, he's not ever gonna deny you his love, because that would be denying kind of what God is. God is love. And so and it just saves you so much trouble not going through that phase of just detachment from God, because that's a scary place to be in. And so just staying with God and staying in His Word and staying in His purpose, again, saves you so much stress, and I can't stress that enough. Like it's super crucial, guys. Like keep God first, and everything else will work out. And I feel like that should be a motto to live by, is that God will prevail and His plan will bring fruit to your life.
Definitely, man. But Claude, do you have any last words for them? So on this channel, guys, we have something called a to-go plate, and it's just any type of gem or any type of extremely important message that the visitor or the person, the guest, has for you guys. So what do you think, Claude? What is something that you want to tell them?
Yeah, I think something, and I talked a little bit about it, but I just want to stress the importance of implementing this into your life is reflecting. I think for me, reflecting, taking 10 minutes at the end of your day to write about what you enjoyed, what you did, what was good and what was bad, relieves so much stress in your life. And so I think taking the time to really realize that, hey, this happened today and I was super excited about it. This happened today and it kind of sucked. I think being intentional about writing this stuff down helps you so much, because for example, for me, one thing that I do is that I journal every night, but I also do a yearly video. And so in this yearly video, the first 30 minutes, I kind of recap the whole year. What was good, what was bad? What did I achieve this past year? What did I kind of not be able to get, and I'm still working on? Right? For example, I wanted to work out a whole lot this past year, and that didn't work out. And so I talked about it. And I was like, okay, why did this happen? I kind of broke down that. I kind of broke that down so that this upcoming year I can kind of fix that. And being, again, intentional about improving yourself is super crucial. And so one thing is that I want to also I want to read the Bible way more. And so one thing that I'm doing, and Stephen, he's not here, he's doing it, is reading Proverbs, just one chapter a day. There's 31 chapters. Just reading that once a day is something that I want to implement in my life, to be in the Word more. And so I think, again, being intentional, and I recorded just because I want to look back at it. When I say when I'm 25, I want to look back what I was talking about when I was 19, right? I think that's just something that helps you and allows you to see your growth, especially in the Lord. You can see January 1st of 2020, I was going through this. This is where I was, and the Lord kind of put me out of that season and put me here now. So I think that's also and when you look at it in the future, wow, the Lord really worked, and what He said kind of impacted my life, and His plan since that point has kind of unfolded. And so I think that's something that's super crucial. It's just reflecting, and I do videos, you don't have to do videos, just write it down, helps you a lot, and helps your walk with the Lord. And being intentional, I think, is something that I would say to leave with, is just being intentional with God and with yourself, because that's the only two things that long term, you're gonna be with you and God for eternity. And so just keeping that in the forefront of whatever you do is super crucial.
Yeah, that's big, man. That reflection is extremely important, because that reflection will also help you know who you are truly.
Exactly.
Exactly. Because we as humans, we neglect that little time where we're just with our thoughts,
right?
And that time is extremely important.
Yeah. So
you guys definitely implement that in y'all's lives, man. That part of self-reflecting, and if you've never journaled before, try it. Who knows? It might be for you. So definitely, man. But hey, we appreciate you guys for watching today's video, man. When God says no, so just understand that, hey, sometimes it's not a no, it's just a hold on, wait.
Exactly.
Yeah, so we appreciate you guys for watching. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and also turn on post notifications. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.
Yes, sir.